Welcome to weeks 9 and 10 of this 12-week off-season program. So in weeks 7 and 8, we introduced batting practice, and hopefully that went well. In 9 and 10 and 11 and 12, we're going to introduce off-speed. That's going to be the main difference here between 7 and 8 and then the rest of this program. But let's start right away with the mental goal impression. Today we're doing off-speed. After that mental goal impression, we're going to go right into the tee sequence. So again, if you're partnered up on tees, just take one set at a time and then switch with the partner. You're going to have 6 sets total again. We're going to shorten the tee sequence so you can move right into front flips and then batting practice and incorporate the off speed. So let me read off the tee sequence to you. Set 1 is middle away 2, middle in 2, and then switch with your partner. Set 2 is middle away 2, middle in 2, and then switch. Set 3 is away 2, middle away 2, and then switch. Set 4 is in 2, middle away 1, and then switch. Set 5 is in 2, middle away 1, and then switch. And the 6th and final set is in 1, middle away 1. End on hard contact. Make sure that the ball is staying off the top of the cage. You want low line drives. You want things that are going to be driven gap to gap. And make sure that all of your hitters are going at or close to game speed. We've harped on that a couple different times throughout this program. Please stay through that all the way through the finish. Your boys and girls perhaps are going to want to let up on this part. This is the most important part of the program because you're going to take this particular piece and bring it out with you during the rest of the season. This final tee sequence is something you can do over and over again. Increase the reps. Don't decrease them down past 2, but this is a really good way to create a foundation for a routine in season as you go forward here. So that's their tee sequence. Okay, the next segment here is front flips and batting practice, and we're going to incorporate off speed in here. So here's what I want to say about front flips and off speed and batting practice with off speed. If you as a feeder, as a batting practice thrower, cannot throw off-speed pitches, if you can't throw breaking balls for strikes pretty consistently, or if you can't throw change-ups pretty consistently, a lob overhand is just fine. If you're baseball, and in softball, you just make adjustments as needed. If you know that you cannot or don't have somebody in your coaching set that can do off-speed pitches consistently, you might want to do off-speed pitches during front flips. And really simply, you can put an extra arc on an underhand pitch as though you're playing slow pitch softball and get the same effect basically. So the hitter is going to be in the box and you'll ask that hitter to wait for the ball to drop into the slot, so to speak. It drops into the slot just as it would an overhand pitch, and you can make up for it that way. But front flips, you can incorporate off speed too if you know you can't do off speed overhand. So for front flips, and this is assuming now, these sets are assuming you can do off-speed overhand. For front flips, we want a minimum 3 sets of 7 to 10 reps per player, all locations. Medium and hard velocity is okay underhand or overhand in this front flip section. And again, make sure that on the timing side of it that when you're delivering, you're giving your players enough time to load so that they're not rushing through if you go to hard velocity on the underhand or on the overhand. Make sure you've got a very clear cadence so that your teams and players know when to load. For batting practice here in week 9, you want to start out with medium velocity. Again, in week 7 and 8, we also did that. There's no need to go overboard with the velocity overhand. Just make sure that you're incorporating all locations at this point. In week 7 and 8, we wanted to keep the baseball, softball on the outer part of the plate, the outer 3 dots of the T map, middle, middle, middle away, and away, away. Here in weeks 9, 10, 11, 12, we're incorporating all the locations so you can have your players pull in these rounds. Make sure that those pull rounds happen after the first round. You always want to be able to start batting practice with that first round going up the middle the other way. That's a skill set that college coaches in baseball and softball look for hitters. It's a very important point. If you have players that walk right in and start to pull right away, college coaches won't be completely discouraged, but they'll take note of the fact that you're not using the whole field. A professional batting practice round is always going to start with a player putting his hands inside the baseball or softball and using the opposite field to demonstrate to the onlookers, I can use the whole field and it's important, and I know how to bring my hands to the inside part of the baseball or softball. In that first round of batting practice, make sure that you're using the whole field, the opposite field, and then after that, they can go full on. You can do the timing of batting practice. You should try to eat up about 30 minutes at least. If you've got a 60-minute segment at the beginning of this, and on your PDF, you're going to see that you've got a sample schedule for 60 minutes here, and in weeks 9 through 12, you're gonna want to put a premium on that. But try to get about 30 minutes of batting practice and reps 7 per round, and including off-speed rounds, you want to do a minimum of 2 off-speed rounds, so that your players are starting to see and feel the difference between hitting a fastball and hitting an off-speed pitch. You can end week 9 with a line drive contest. It's not something that you need to drop necessarily. If you've got time, do it. It's always fun to do at the end for any age group. If not, and you want to go all the way through because you need all that time, then go ahead and drop the line drive contest, but that's an optional end to this. We're also not doing any more optional exercises for tee work early, so we stripped that out to accommodate the extra time needed for batting practice. That is it for weeks 9 and 10. Good luck. We will see you in weeks 11 and 12.